together, we can help save lives.
Now, live. This is a special edition of CBS 4 News.
Good morning and welcome to a special edition of CBS 4 News this morning. The pictures seen around the world as the fight to keep Elian in South Florida came to a violent end when agents stormed his little Havana home.
And this morning, more than 24 hours after the extraction, as those who want Elian to stay in the U.S. once again turn into prayer on this Easter Sunday.
The haunting image of him plucked from the arms of the fisherman who rescued him, prompting reaction worldwide.
Now reunited with his father, what happens next? Will he leave the U.S. or will he stay for the appeal? The seizure and reunion sparking fiery protests on the streets of South Florida. We are live with the situation out there right now. Meantime, in Cuba, thousands turn out to celebrate, claiming victory. This is Elian's South Florida family is in Washington, D.C., vowing to continue their fight to keep Elian here in the U.S. Good morning. It is Sunday, April 23rd, and thank you very much for waking up on this Easter Sunday. I'm Jennifer Gould.
And I'm Lee Davalos. It has been a tense more than 24 hours in South Florida, and we are joining you this morning to give you an update on all the very latest developments from South Florida to Washington, D.C.
We're going to have much more coming right up, but first let's take a look at this morning's holiday forecast with meteorologist Craig Setzer. Craig.
Good morning. Our holiday forecast looking pretty good. No rain in the forecast, and even though temperatures are cool now, they will begin to warm up. Here's a look at real-time radar, which is showing no precipitation across the area. None in the forecast for the day today. In terms of temperatures, they are chilly this morning. Low 60s throughout South Florida. To the north, even cooler in the 50s and 40s up through northern Florida along the Panhandle. But with bright sunshine, we will warm up nicely. Our forecast for today looks like this. Lots of sunshine, low humidity, light wind. A great day to get out and do just about anything outside. Our high temperature is forecast to reach 83 degrees. There's some rain during the upcoming week. We'll have more in that forecast, but don't think about that now. Just think about today if it's your day off. Back to you.
All right, Craig, thank you. Time right now is 6:59 on this Easter Sunday. All is calm outside Elian's little Havana home this morning, a day after agents stormed the home, taking him in a pre-dawn raid. About 25 hours ago, chaos and terror swept through this home as a team of armed men came in and in just 3 minutes took Elian away from the place he has called home for the last 5 months to be reunited with his father. CBS 4's Lizette Campos has more on how this all went down.
Just after 5 a.m., the white van screeched to a halt outside the home of 6-year-old Elian Gonzalez. And in an instant, federal agents in full riot gear forced the front door open. It was the moment many had feared. Federal marshals had come for Elian.
We were negotiating on the phone with them, on hold, and they broke through my window and put a gun through Elian's head. To Elian's head, who saw the tragedy of his mom's death.
The marshal's first stop was Elian's bed, but the 6-year-old boy was hiding in a closet, holding tight to Donato Dalrymple, the man who fished him out of the sea on Thanksgiving Day. Associate press photographer Alan Diaz was in the room with Elian and snapped this picture just seconds before agents kicked the door in. Elian was in a panic, hearing the agents getting closer and closer.
The kid's crying, and the kid looks at me and he asks me, what's happening? And I say, what am I going to say? I said, nothing's happening, don't worry. He says, ¿Qué está pasando?
What's happening?
That's right, and I answered, nada, papito.
And then the face-to-face encounter. The agent, his rifle, Elian and Donato. A moment captured on film forever.
And they came in with guns. Now, I don't say they were put on my brain, but the gun was pointed right to me. Give me the boy, give me the boy. And there was a lady with a blanket. She took it and she put it over his face.
Elian's cousin Maris Lacis and her father Lazaro were overcome with sadness and shock. Within 3 minutes, the military-style operation was over inside the house. But outside, the panic was just beginning.
He was holding the woman, like for salvation or something, and you could see in his face how scared he was. He's 6 years old. I mean, everybody here was scared. I can't imagine what was going through his head.
CBS 4 photojournalist Jose Guzman captured Elian's last seconds in Little Havana, The crowd around him in a panic, choking and straining to see through the gas.
They started spraying us with gas, so that's when everybody panicked and started, like running because we couldn't. His little face, fear. It was just a panic.
I'm a mother, okay? And I was there and I jumped that fence and that little kid was screaming not to take them. And I'm here. He was crying.
Elian's next stop was Watson Island. CBS 4 capturing this exclusive video of the helicopter that flew the boy to the Homestead Air Reserve Base where he was examined by a doctor. Elian was then taken by plane to Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland where he was reunited with his father, Juan Miguel Gonzalez. News cameras had been lining up outside this home for 24 hours a day, and when the raid began, the leader of the Democracia movement, Ramon Saul Sanchez, did attempt the human chain that he had practiced, but on this morning, he failed. Lisette Campos, CBS 4 News, this morning.
Well, the fallout after the seizure continues this morning in Miami. Police remain on full alert after hundreds of people reached their boiling point, taking to the streets in protest. Officers in full riot gear forced to use tear gas to disperse some of the crowds and making hundreds of arrests. CBS 4's Lisa Cabrera has that side of the story.
Miami police clash violently with demonstrators. Officers aggressively taking down whomever they consider a potential threat. Watch one woman trying desperately to help her husband. Emotions run high, fires burning in the streets of Little Havana. Traffic barely moves as horns are blaring. Police armed with pepper spray wearing protective gas masks. Demonstrators are subdued, dozens arrested. Officers give chase to an unidentified man who shouts obscenities at them. He is apprehended and handcuffed on the ground. Lisa Cabrera, CBS 4 News.
Hours after the so-called extraction, police took to the streets in riot gear trying to contain the hundreds of protesters which had taken their fight and cause to the streets. CBS 4's Gary Nelson was right in the middle of everything and filed this report.
Dawn arrived loudly in Little Havana. Demonstrators taking to the streets, blocking the streets. These images prompted by this image. Little Havana's adopted son seized in the night.
I am an American citizen, daughter of a Cuban. I am so ashamed of this nation. I don't want to be called an American. This child was ripped from his loving house.
Someone flew an American flag upside down, a distress symbol. An old woman cried out in pain from the sidewalk while others blocked the street. Mass transit wasn't transiting anyone. This little boy's daddy was not happy to be caught up in it.
I'm trying to get home to go to my work. I'm going to lose my job if I don't get there on time. It's not my fault, Mom. I got to go to my work. Look at this kid. This is my boy, my son.
This daddy dropped to his knees and sobbed. His little boy hugged his neck and cried out too. This young woman cried out, maced in the face by a policeman, she says, as she stood on the sidewalk. Arrests set in, police taking away men, women, old men. At some point, chaos and outrage gave way to outrageous behavior. This van was set upon, windows broken out, a police car surrounded, rocks and bottles thrown. A fire was set, then another and another. A dumpster dumped over, and cops cracked down. The sound of hissing tear gas canisters filled Little Havana. Acrid gases sent crowds scattering. Now playing at the Dade County Auditorium, a cloud of tear gas. Some took refuge in a Walgreens store. A little boy gets his eyes flushed out. The arrests now came in mass. Police taking, giving no quarter. No one, once told to move, was exempt.
The gentleman lying on the ground was taken down with prejudice just a moment ago by Miami police. He is a television news photographer.
Determined to take back the streets, police fill paddy wagons and buses full. Nearly 200 people are arrested. An army of Darth Vaders struggle to restore order.